AP Biology 2.3 cell size. In this video, we try to explain why the surface area to volume ratio is super important in biology and try to understand that why cells are small. The surface area to volume ratio affects the ability of a cell or an organism to obtain necessary resources, for example, for the cellular respiration, oxygen, and also glucose, and eliminate waste product. For example, the waste product for cellular respiration is carbon dioxide, or dissipate thermal energy from the body, and otherwise exchange chemicals and energy with its environment. Examples from biology. The small intestine here on this picture, this will be our first example, contains folds in here. These are the folds, and they are the just the villi. And on the villi surface, we have microvilli too. This is a enterocyte, the cell of the intestine that is doing the absorption, and the microvilli is the cytoplasmic projections, finger-like projections at the apical surface of the intestinal cells. In order to increase the surface area for absorption. If somebody has an atrophic, less microvilli on their intestinal cells, the absorption definitely will be lower. The other example from biology is coming from the lung. The lung contains small sacs type of vesicles, and these are called alveoli. These alveoli are increasing the surface area for gas exchange, specifically for the oxygen to go into the capillaries, and from the capillaries to the lung will diffuses through the carbon dioxide, the waste. Another example for surface area volume ratio, why is that important? And we said we are aiming for higher surface area volume ratio for absorption and transport. In here too, for the intestine, surface area volume ratio should be bigger. But on the other hand, animals, sometimes they aim for low surface area to volume ratio. The animals are big in the Arctic and they have relatively short legs. In order to decrease the surface area compared to their volume, so the ratio would be smaller, so they will retain their body heat more efficiently. On the other hand, on animals on the tropical area, they increase their surface area with, for example, their ear, in order to dissipate, eliminate the heat that their body accumulates in that temperature zone. In organism, let's go to the organism organelle level. Let's draw a mitochondrion, and I'm drawing the inner membrane. See the amount of folds the inner membrane contains compared to the outer membrane. Now, the inner membrane is not only for separating the matrix from the intermembrane space. It's not only for compartmentalization to make different sections in the organelle, but also the folded membrane can host more electron transport chain proteins as well as transport proteins for ATP synthesis. Similar is in the case for the chloroplast when we have the thylakoid membranes to increase the surface area for the electrotransport chain, ETC proteins all around in here, as well as we have the chlorophyll pigments embedded in the thylakoid membrane, as well as transport proteins for ATP synthesis. So all the organelles cases, the aim is high surface area to volume ratio. One of my students a couple of years ago just told me, but isn't that if we have a small cell and a bigger cell, isn't that the surface area for the small is smaller compared to the big one? Yes, this is super true, but what we want to see is the surface area to volume ratio would be bigger for the smaller cell, and that's really the important part. Now, species have evolved highly efficient strategies, and we listed the strategies to obtain nutrients, for example, the folds and the microvilli in the small intestine, and to eliminate waste elimination, for example, alveoli. But I also can say that the kidney is also having different tubules to increase the elimination of the waste. But in here for the lung, I also can use the example for the gills for an example. This is also true for the plants. Like I have a green, the deciduous trees, they have leaves and they have big leaves to obtain as much sunlight. These are the red and the blue sun rays to increase their productivity via photosynthesis. Plants in the shade usually have bigger leaves in order to capture more sun, as much sun as possible, but this is not always the case. Specialized structures for gas exchange, for example, on the leaves, they have tiny openings at the back, usually at the back of the leaf, but not always on the back. These are guard cells, and between are the stomata or stoma for gas exchange, as well as get just let water vapor out too. So the takeaway is that we do not want to just check, oops, no, that's too much. Not want to focus only on the surface area and separately the volume, but their ratio is that really counts in order to be bigger or smaller, depending on what's the purpose is. And that's it. I hope you learned something today too. Bye.